Hi, everyone. Welcome to the College Essay Guy virtual college road trip. And this is the panel session. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really excited you are here. Before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to note. First, if you have any questions at all, feel free to submit those using the Q&A button. Any questions you have for Ethan, feel free to submit them using the Q&A button. Your camera and your microphone are off. You are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. There is a virtual college fair right after this, so we strongly encourage you to join us there. Feel free to sign up for the virtual college fair at the same place where you registered for this one. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/college essay guide. So without further ado, I'm really excited to personally introduce to you Ethan Sawyer, who I personally have gotten to know and follow and see all about his journey, about college essays and about the journey to applying for college. And so I'm really excited to introduce him, who's going to personally share with you about building a preliminary college list and really under an hour. So I'm so excited to hear what he has to share. He does have two books currently, which is College Admissions Essentials and College Essay Essentials. And with over a following on his website of over 1 million, I know that it's only going to go up from here. So again, really excited to hear what Ethan Sawyer has to share, and I'll turn it over to him. Over to you, Ethan.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks, Catherine.
Yeah.
And thanks to StriveScan for putting this together. We've got Jen also behind the scenes helping. Thanks, Jen. So hi, y'all. My name's Ethan. My pronouns are he, his, and I am so glad to be with y'all today. So we are, as Catherine said, legit going to attempt to develop a college list in under an hour. And I'm going to give you some context for why I'm leading this particular thing and how I came to this decision. But first, some quick PSAs. So this is going to be a preliminary college list development session. So we're going to spend 35 minutes first getting to know what are you looking for in a school, and I'll show you how to do that in just a few minutes. And then how do you know what schools are actually good for the things that you are interested in? And then I'm going to share with you a simple template that's going to allow you to basically start to chart some of this information. Okay. But this is really just a preliminary effort. Like, I don't expect you to have fully a perfect list in under an hour. This is just like starting the conversation. And then there's going to be a part 2 to this, but it's on my YouTube channel. And because we couldn't do a part 2 webinar with just such a short event. So in order to get part 2 of this, if you'll look in the chat box, Jen just pasted a link. Thanks, Jen, to my YouTube channel. So you'll have to subscribe and hit the notifications bell and all those things that all of your favorite YouTubers say. But that'll be part 2 of this. And that's going to be about how to research that list and, really think about, okay, based on where I'm applying to or I think I'm applying to, what are the schools that are really going to be right for me? So that's part 2 coming up. The second thing, quick PSA, is if you are a student who comes from a low-income family and you're interested in free college essay and application help, consider applying for the Matchlighters program. So the Matchlighters Scholars program is basically a group of, right now, it's a group of 650 counselors who have signed up to say they are willing to volunteer to help one student. And if that sounds like it might be interesting to you, these are experienced counselors who are here to help you. So, by signing up for that, you basically just get at least 4 hours of help developing your college list and writing your essays, and it takes just a few minutes to apply. So we'd love to have you, and we have room right now. That's the thing. If you're listening to this in like the first part of the summer, like there's room. As long as you see when you get that link, the application's available, there's still room for you. Let's see. Oh, and if you haven't already signed up for the college fair sessions, like maybe you signed up for this session, great, kudos. But if you haven't yet signed up for the college fair, then let's just throw the link in once more, Jen, thanks. And let me just show you what that page looks like. So this is the page that you came to sign up for this, and you clicked this link, right, as a, whoops, that's me actually clicking the link, which you don't need to do. Student, international student, or counselor. But did you scroll all the way down? Because if you scroll all the way down, you'll see all of these amazing sessions from all these cool schools, and it's not too late to sign up for these sessions. So here's what I'd suggest is, like, we've got a minute or two before I start doing the session proper. Take a second and go, okay, or maybe you did sign up for one and you're like, oh yeah, I'm interested in Bowdoin. And so you sign up for Bowdoin's session, but like scroll around. And I really want to encourage you to like check out one of these sessions with schools that you maybe haven't heard of. because that's a great way to learn quickly. And when I say quickly, you're basically going to get, each of these schools is going to present for 6 minutes on their school. And if you go 6 times 6, in 36 minutes, you're going to learn about 6 schools that you may not have otherwise heard of or know about. So, hop into session B3 and learn about Drake if you don't know about Drake or Marquette or whatever session that is. I would say at least sign up for, you're going to get the recordings of these, right? They'll be posted here. So I would say, jump into a couple of these sessions, and you can do that now. We'll just reshare the link in the chat for that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. Are there any more PSAs? Dun, dun, dun. I think I'm just going to pause for a second to let you do that if you want to do that. That's coming in the chat. Cool. So while you're doing that, again, as Catherine said, if you've got any questions, feel free to throw them in the Q&A box, and I'll pause at tiny points, but mostly I want you all working. So here's what I would suggest you do is have me open in one, window, and then have another window open where you're going to be doing the work that I'm actually going to walk you through. And that's going to be your best chance of actually creating a college list. And by the way, if you're a parent or a counselor doing this and you don't have a student right next to you, do this with me too, because it's going to be kind of fun, which segues into how this whole thing came about. That's called a segue. So finding a college list, developing a college list is actually not an easy thing to do. And there are thousands and thousands of schools out there, and trying to figure out, well, which ones are going to be the right one for me is not easy. And I've helped students do this. I've tried to create resources around it, but I hadn't actually personally developed my own college list since I was 17. And I'm 40 now. So 23 years ago, I did it. And there were certain resources that are available now that weren't available to me then. And so what I decided to do is I had this idea in my head that I could probably develop a preliminary list in under an hour, but I never actually tried it. And so I actually did it. And for me, it took about 55 minutes. And today we're going to do a kind of truncated version of it. In about 35 minutes, we're going to see if we can get you to a preliminary list of 8 to 10 schools. Okay. Well, actually, let's say that's 15 or plus, but if you could find 8 to 10 today, that's a win. And we're going to do it with 3 resources. So the first resource is something called Coursava, which is free to students. The second resource we're going to use is something called College Express, which I'm also a big fan of, and it's also free. And then I'm going to use a simple spreadsheet template that you have to pay for. No, I'm kidding. Also free. And I'm going to give you links to these as we go. Actually, Jen is going to give you links to these. And with these 3 resources, you can basically develop a list in under an hour. And I have to give a quick shout out to Sandy Longworth, my colleague at College Essay Guy, who helped me with this spreadsheet. And this is similar to a system that she uses with students. That's super awesome. So shout out to Sandy. Okay. So first, step 1, here's what we're going to do. Figure out what you want in a college. And we're going to pay particular attention to the things that you feel like you must have when it comes to developing your list. So that's step 1. Step 2, we got to figure out, based on the things that I'm going to do it this way, based on the things that you really, really want, then what schools are good for those things. And that's where College Express is going to come in handy. And then step 3, we got to organize what we're learning. So we're going to use this simple spreadsheet to basically, once we figure out which schools are good for the things that we like, which are the schools that are coming up pretty regularly. Okay. So step 1, how do we figure out what we're looking for in a college? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to a website, and again, open up in a different window and go to a website called Coursava.com, www.coursava.com. In fact, if you'll type www, Jen, it'll give them, then they can click on it. So go to www.coursava.com, literally do this right now. And then once you're there, awesome, thanks. I want you to create a simple login. Coursava's not paying me for this, by the way. I just am a super fan. And once you go there, and I can show you what this looks like if you want. Once you go to the Coursava login page, you click sign up in the top right corner. You have to put in your email, do this. Actually, yeah, let me pause for a second so that you do this. And if you're wondering hey, why should I do this? Because in about 10 minutes, if you do this, if you create the login, you're going to be able to know what you're looking for in a college. We're going to do something called the card sort. So go ahead and go to Coursava.com, create your login. Yes, literally right now. In fact, Jen, will you just type this in the chat box? Step 1, create a login with Coursava. And once you've done this, you're going to see something called the card sort. Now, let me explain what this is while you're doing it. Basically, the way that Coursava was started, it was a deck of cards. And in this deck of cards was just basically a bunch of different things that students might be interested in college. Like, I want to go to a school that is, has fisheries and wildlife, or is good for geology, or I want to go to a school that has lots of diversity or is committed to creating community. And these cards became this website and became this app that you can basically walk through. And let me just share my screen so you can see what the heck I'm talking about. Check this out. So once you log in, you'll click on the card sort, and this is actually a card sort. And then you'll get something like this, women only. And you have to decide, is this a must-have for you, a would be nice, a do not care, or a no way? And for me, if it's a women-only college, I'm not allowed to go there. So I would say no way to this one. Fisheries and wildlife. I don't so much care for this. If it's this, and I've already done these, you can kind of see I've checked them. Geology, that would be nice. That fine, sure. So I click would be nice. Hospitality and management, I don't care so much. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is to actually spend the next 6 to 8 minutes, because that's about how long I think it'll take you, and to go through these cards. And 138, that's a lot, I know, but just kind of go with your gut. You can come back and change these later if you want. But for now, I want you to go through these. So computer science. Yeah, I want to be around some computer science folks. So that's a must-have for me. So I mark it must-have. Creative culture. For me, both as a 17-year-old and now if I was applying to college, I would do, this is a must-have for me. So I would mark that must-have. Friendly campus, for sure. And if you're uncertain, what do they mean by friendly campus? Well, is it a campus where students work together and support one another academically and socially? Staff and faculty are welcoming and supportive. Who would say no to that? Yes. Product or industrial design? I don't care so much. LGBTQ friendly? Yes. And what does that mean? There is support for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning students. Yes, must have. So you're going to go through this, and literally, I want you to do this right now. Go through the card sort and figure out in, like I said, 6 to 8 minutes, what are the things that you're looking for? Now, if you've got questions, again, feel free to throw them in the chat box. I'm sure questions are hopping in. So let me jump in there. Ba-dum-bum-bum. I wonder if we crashed the website. That would be really funny. Oh, I bet you it crashed. I bet you because we just sent them 400 people that we just crashed the website. Wah, wah. Let me just, that's a great question. Oh, the website crashed. We totally crashed Coursava. Okay. How do we do this without Coursava? Dun, 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 dun. I'm trying to think if there's a quick workaround for this. Looks like a lot of folks. Oh, it says, so Angie's saying, looks like a lot of folks are signing up for our email newsletter rather than signing up for a student account. So will you let us know, Angie, will you chat with Anne real quick and see if Coursava can get back up? Because if so, in the next 5 minutes, we could totally do this. And if not, we'll find a workaround. So how could we work around this? You know what we can do? Here, we can do this. This is our temporary Coursava. I'm going to actually go through the cards. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to open up a Google Doc or a Microsoft Word doc, and I'm going to actually go through the cards. And what I want you to do is you don't have to mark must have, would be nice, all of that. I just want you to write down the thing if it's something that you feel like you must have. And so we're actually going to do, and I don't know if this has ever happened before in the history of Coursava, but we're going to do a group card sort with all 454 of us, or however many there are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through these, and it's going to take us about 6-7 minutes. And I want you to just write down the ones that are must-haves for you. This is our workaround. And once you do this, you'll be able to move to the next step with me. All right. So open up a blank doc, or if you got paper and pen, that works totally for you. And what I want you to do is come up with let's see, 10 or 20 of these things that you're like, yes, for sure, definitely want this. All right, women only. And so maybe Jen, write down for folks, this is the step 2, write down your must-haves. That's the step we're doing right now. But this is really step 1B. Okay, fisheries and wildlife. Is it a must-have? If so, write it down. If not, just don't do anything. Geology. Is it a must-have or not so much? Hospitality management. Write it down if you got to have it. Computer science. Creative culture. Friendly campus. Product or industrial design. LGBTQ friendly. And again, at this point, you might have one thing written down. You might have 0 things written down. You might have 4 things written down. All are fine. And if you just joined us, I'm going through a big list of things that you might want in a college. And I just want you to write down which are the ones that are your must-haves. Physics. Outdoorsy. One of a crowd, which means you're excited to attend a college where you can be anonymous, just one of thousands of students in a larger university setting. Political science. Art. Culinary arts. Oops. Green campus, which means students and administrators are environmentally conscious and the campus buildings are eco-friendly. Big fish in a little pond. So do you want to quickly become a respected and well-known leader on campus? So these are colleges where you could do that in a smaller, close-knit community. World languages. Neuroscience. This is actually maybe a better way to do this because we all get to do it together. Dance. Social entrepreneurship. Must have for me. Music. Must have for me. I don't need to tell you what I'm doing, but you can see me doing it if you want. Engineering. Small college. And if you're kind of open to it, anyway, you don't need to be marking these. Scholarly environment. Professors are world-renowned and your fellow students are highly intellectual. Again, you're only writing it down if it's a thing that's like, I must have this. You're comfortable, learn by listening. You're comfortable listening and taking notes and prefer classes where you learn through lectures and presentations. Debate or mock trial. Bike-friendly campus. Suburban campus. Great food. We're like a quarter of the way there, by the way. Structured program. So this is a great fit if you prefer a detailed syllabus, explicit instructions, and a clear grading rubric. If you just joined us, hi, welcome to the broadcast. I'm reading a series of things you might want in a college. And if it's something that you really want, write it down. Criminal justice programs. Career advising, which is to say advisors and mentors that might help you with resumes and bring companies on to recruit. Global studies. International student body. Pre-med, vet, dental advising. And again, if it's not something you're into, nothing you have to do. Apprenticeship and certification programs. This is for students who know what you want to do, and includes working toward a certification or apprenticeship to say become an electrician, nursing assistant, auto mechanic, plumber, etc. Sports medicine kinesiology. College town, located in a town or city full of college students and a youthful energy. What does that mean? A youthful energy. There will almost certainly be a Chipotle and a Jimmy John's. That's what that means. Okay, got it. Chemistry. Rural campus, located in a very small town in the middle of nowhere. Thrive on pressure. Students compete with one another to achieve the highest grades. You must thrive under pressure. Love of learning. Accelerated programs. So if you already know that you want to graduate as quickly as possible, become a doctor or lawyer, some colleges offer these accelerated programs that have shorter timelines. So you can go get it might be a medicine, law, business, graduate healthcare profession, or a 3-2 engineering program where you do one thing for 3 years and then you study something really specific for 2 years. Pushed by my peers, you're okay attending a school where you are an average student. Free time. Balance is important. You want to have lots of times for camping trips, socializing, or binge watching Netflix. The Netflix. ACT or SAT optional, which is a big thing now. If it's one of your must-haves, write it down. Weekend life. Students stay on campus on the weekend. There are lots of activities to keep you entertained. A college with several thousand students. Is it a medium college that is a must-have for you? I haven't met a lot of students who are like, I must have a medium college, but maybe that's you. Econ. A national reputation. Is it super important to you that people recognize the name of the school you attend? You want them to be impressed? Psychology. Is that having that major a must-have for you? Varsity athlete. You can't imagine your life without sports. You hope to continue competing at the Division 1, 2, or 3 level. Communications or journalism. Fashion design, merchandising. Campus safety. In other words, it's important to you. You must have a campus that is safe. Top of my class. You like being the smartest one in the room and you can't imagine getting a B. You must have a school where you will be top of your class. Co-op programs. These are internships. Sometimes they're paid. At some colleges, you can participate in programs during the school year. Employers are increasingly looking for students with real work experience. So some schools have these co-op programs as a part of the way that it's built into the way that they run things. Architecture. If you're artistic, but also enjoy science and technology. Animal sciences. I'm going to go through some of these majors a little faster because they're only going to apply to some folks. Big time athletics. So just write down sports in all caps. If you must have sports. Hispanic serving institution. You can abbreviate it as HSI. Conservative campus. Is that a must-have for you? Philosophy. Sunshine. Lots of class choices. English. Whoops. Academic support and tutoring. Drama or theater. We're about halfway there, by the way. Access to professors. Is that really important to you? Some schools, you get lots of access. Some schools, not so much. Clubs and campus activities. Astronomy, like the major. Designing your own major. Is that a must-have for you? Academic advising. Statistics and analytics. Physical disability support. Gap year. Collaborative environment. Liberal arts, which is to say a well-rounded education if you want to take classes in lots of different subject areas. Learn by reading. Public health. Diversity fly-in programs. So these are free campus visit experiences for students from underrepresented groups. They're like weekend, oftentimes they're weekend, sometimes they're one night, one day. You get to see things firsthand. Religious atmosphere. Merit aid scholarships. So this is giving money to students based on their achievements. Good fitness facilities. Environmental science. Business. Community service. Students are actively trying to improve the world around them through volunteering. First gen support. You're the first gen in your family, first generation in your family to attend college, and you want additional support. Residential campus. That's living in dorms for at least 1 to 2 years, and social activities are centered on campus. If some of you just joined us and you're like, this is a really tedious way to do this, actually, it feels like a pretty productive way to get 471 people to get through their college list development. But it's a workaround because the website crashed. History, is that important to you? Close to home. Recruited athlete. Unstructured program. So maybe you want the option to design your own major, take ownership of your education in unique and unstructured ways. Financial aid. Great if you require financial assistance. Large college. So lots of students on campus. Great opportunity to meet new people. Ethnic and cultural studies. Great dorms. Sports management. Learn by discussing. Liberal campus. Sociology. Intramural sports. That's to say, like, you're not going to play on the school team, but like you still want to play, and there's some organized way that you can play that sport on the campus. Hands-on learning, you want to do rather than just like sit there and have somebody tell you what to do. Research opportunities. Sororities and fraternities, if Greek life is important to you. Competitive environment. International relations. Community college. Politically aware. Modern facilities and technology. Cultural events. Snow. I want to meet the student for whom snow is a must-have. Internships. Party school. I also want to meet the student for whom party school is a must-have. And give them a good talking to. No. Teaching degree. Maybe you want to learn how to teach others a specific subject, and you want a school that really focuses on that. We're almost done. Campus appearance. You want a school that really takes care of itself. Diverse campus, where students come from all parts of the world and represent many races, ethnicities, and family backgrounds. Learning disability support. Urban campus, middle of the city. Nursing, if that's a must-have for you, write it down. Work hard, play hard. You can be serious and studious during the week, but know how to have a good time on the weekends. Service Academy. That's if you're interested in joining the armed forces. Agriculture sustainability. Small classes. Do you want to go to a school that has like 20 students or less in the classes? An HBCU. You're interested in attending a college with a rich history of educating African-American students. ROTC, if that's important to you. Honors college. Small discussion-based classes with lots of writing, often true in those. Social justice, if that's really important to you, write it down. Film. School spirit, where students wear the school colors with pride. Happy Pride Month. Different pride, but pride anyway. Construction management. Far from home. You're excited to get to attend college in a different part of the country. Get me out of here. That was actually true for me. 5 more. Math. Is that a must-have? Strong sense of community. religious affiliation, study abroad, and biology. All right. You've done it. You've got a list of some things that you're interested in potentially in a college. So what I want you to do is I want you to put a star beside, like, let's say if you're somebody who came up with like 20 of these, I want you to come up with like, let's say 10 of these. So put a star beside, you don't have to rank them. Put a star beside like your top 10 must-haves. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste into this doc. Here's what's going to happen. I'm worried everything is going to crash. Okay. I think it's going to crash. Well, here, I'm going to try it. Sorry. This is where the moment where we're like, so here's what I want you to do. I'm going to share a doc and it's in the chat box. And if you can't get into it right away, don't worry. There will be a little queue forming. So I'm going to share this doc. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to File and go to Make a Copy. And then just put your name, College Research Template, and then download it. Okay. Because what that's going to do is it's going to automatically put it into your drive. Okay. And once you do that, if you wouldn't mind, I'm actually going to publish this real quick so that other folks can access it. Here we go. But once you've downloaded it, go ahead and hop off the doc. I'll put an alternate link in here. Hopefully you can get this. Yes. Thank you, Jen. Go to File, Make a Copy, and then rename as your list. Now, some of you are able to do it. And as soon as you get on, hop off so that somebody else, because Google Docs will allow like 100 people to be on it. And then after 100 people, it's like, no, too much, crash. But I just put in the link for the published version of it. So if you're not able to do this right this minute, don't worry. But let me coach you through how to do this so that you can do this, on your own if you want in a bit. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a website. It's called collegeexpress.com. So while y'all are doing this, I'm going to put in this link. And if you can't hop onto the doc right away, don't worry. You can hop into this. So step 3, and Jen, if you'll throw this in, make a copy of the college research template. So that's step 3 here. So this is where we're going to organize all our stuff, because we're about to find out, okay, based on all the things that I'm interested in, where do I actually go to like figure out what schools are good, like what's good for what? And what I want you to do is go to College Express. Let me just share my screen so you can see what we're doing here. So go to College Express, and up here, you're going to click Lists and Rankings. And you're going to take one of the things that you're interested in. So let's say one of the things you're interested in is, let's say, theater. So I'm interested in theater. I'm going to search for theater. I'm going to type it in here. And what I get is, ooh, look, colleges with excellent theater programs. So I click on it and check this out. Here's a list produced by experts. And if you want to find out more about how the list was produced, you just click that little I. But I've got Bennington College, Boston University, Brandeis, Cal Arts, Carnegie Mellon, Case Western, Chapman, DePaul, Drew. Some of these schools I've heard of, and some of them I don't know so much about. So here's a huge list, y'all, of schools that are great for theater. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to copy this link, right? I'm going to basically scroll down. I'm going to copy all of these schools. So I scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. And then if you're on a Mac, you're going to hit Control C. If you're on, if you're on a PC, you hit Control C. If you're on a Mac, you guys know how to copy something, Command C. And you're going to actually go into this list. This is going to look overwhelming, but I'm looking for something like, for example, film, and I'm just going to paste my list into here. Okay. So these are, when I typed in film as being one of the things that I was interested in, I had this list of all of these schools: BU, Chapman, Columbia, Emerson, Ithaca, LMU. So these are the schools that came up when it came to film. Okay. And I'm going to do this for like 10 different things that I'm interested in. So for English, for example, that was the next thing. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you go ahead and list all of the things, your must-haves, along the top of this, where it says at the bottom of your spreadsheet, it'll say list of lists. And you're just going to go, I want film. I want English. I want a strong sense of community. I want a school that's LGBTQ friendly. I want a school that provides academic support, that offers financial aid. And you're just going to type all of these things. And for each thing that you're looking for, you're going to go back to College Express and you're just going to type it in. So I just go back. Okay, I'm also interested in, like I said, English. So I type in English, and you got to sometimes kind of look, because I don't necessarily want to go where female English literature PhDs receive their undergraduate degrees. And maybe, but because I don't identify as female, I might, or is it internet? And it might also give you like a new thing. Like, do you want to do international study in English? Or this one really resonates with me, colleges with great English, creative writing, and literature programs. So I click on that one. You'll see variations on this, right? So, click on the list that feels most applicable to you. And you're going to go in and same thing. You highlight all of the schools, copy, and then paste into here. So I'm going to pause for a couple minutes. I imagine there are questions about this. I'm going to pop into the Q&A. How do I get to lists and rankings? So someone's asking, how do I get to lists and rankings? So go to collegeexpress.com and you'll see it at the top. There it is, lists and rankings. Most of these universities, Audrey, yes, are US based. Let me see what other questions are coming in. Let's see. If you can't access the Google Sheet, try refreshing. If you can't access the Google Sheet, just try refreshing it and coming back in. It might work for you. Well, also, what we'll do is when we follow up with this, I'll follow up with a link to the sheet so that you can download it. Because who knew there were going to be this many people in this session? This was from back before, but some folks were asking about, help for international students. If you are an international student and you're looking for resources and advice, we've got this thing called the International Students Hub. So I'll just put in a link to that. So if you're an international student, there are a whole bunch of resources there. All right. And if by the way, if you're not able to, for some reason, get onto the spreadsheet, don't worry. Let me just show you how to do this. Because if you don't literally do this right this minute, some of you are, but if you're literally not doing this, then it's okay. At least you'll know how to do it. Okay. So again, you go to College Express, you go to List and Rankings, and you type in a thing that you're interested in. So for example, here are some other things on my list. Financial aid. And again, you'll have some different things that pop up. So this is the best financial aid resources. That's not what I'm looking for. Where you don't need to be needy to get financial aid. Nah, when I was in high school, I needed money. Colleges that meet the financial needs of students, that's what I need. So that's the list I would click. Look, these schools, it even tells you here what percentage of need they meet. So 100% of need. Okay. Again, you copy it and you paste it into your list here. All right. So some of you are doing this now, which is awesome. If you can't, again, you will follow up with the resource so that you can do this at your leisure. All right. So once you've got this list, what's going to happen is, and this will take you, it might take you 10 minutes. It might take you half an hour. But once you've got this, you're going to have a bunch of schools and you won't even be able to know like one school from another. Cause you're like, all I did is I just pasted these lists because Ethan told me to. So what I want you to do is I want you to notice if you see any overlaps. So as I skim here, I notice I'm looking for a couple schools that repeat. Boston, I noticed the word Boston's coming up. Boston College, so I'm going to do a Command F search and I'm going to search for Boston College. And I see that it comes up twice. So it comes up in my financial aid list and my happy colleges list. Okay, cool. That's only twice. There's Beloit. I'm just going to grab Beloit. So Beloit, look at that. Beloit College comes up 5 times in my list. So watch this. Beloit comes up here, 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 and here. That's kind of rad. And one thing you can do if you want is you can freeze the columns at the top or the rows so that as I look, I can see what Beloit's appearing on. So it's a happy college. It's an academic support. It's good for theater. It's good for English. So if I see a school is overlapping 5 times, I'm going to take and copy and I'm going to paste this into what I call my preliminary list of my overlaps. So Beloit, I paste it in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically skim that list that I just showed you, my list of lists. And I'm going to be like, which schools do I see repeating? And the ones that overlap, these are my overlaps, I paste them here. And guess what? That's going to be your preliminary list of schools to research. And then I'm going to go in and I want to put an initial interest level. And so if I were 17 years old, this is how I imagine that I would have rated these. Bard's College, I'm going to rate as a 6, just because I don't know much about Bard College. But if it's something that appears on a bunch of my lists, I'm somewhat interested in it. Beloit, because it appeared on 5 different ones, I'm going to rate it a 7, even though at 17, I don't know much about Beloit. BU, I don't know why. Why did I rate it a 5? No, BU's an 8. Chapman, again, same reason. I don't know a ton about it. Northwestern, which is, by the way, where I ended up going, I'm going to rate that a 10 because it's I'm just totally biased for Northwestern. Okay. So just to recap, once you've figured out using Coursava, all the things that you're interested in, you take your must-haves and you put these at the top of this template here. Okay. And you search for each one of these on College Express. Okay. Lists and rankings. So I'm going to go back and I type them in here. And for each one, whatever list comes up, I copy and paste all the schools that came up for that onto this thing. I know. Wouldn't it be cool if somebody created, some of you CS students out there need to like simplify this by just creating a thing that actually does this and makes it super easy. Okay. But based on this, you put all these lists here and you have to search for what are the overlaps. Somebody watch what's going to happen is like somebody in a year is going to be like, oh, here's a thing that does this. And then I'm going to be like, okay, you don't need to do this anymore. But this is the way to, I think, do it. And then you do your initial interest level. The other reason that this is good is that what you can do is if you got this as a Google spreadsheet, you can just click share in the top right corner. You can share it with your counselor or with a family member, whoever's helping you do your research, and just let them know kind of where you stand with this. Okay. We're not going to get into research today because research is going to be like the part 2, and I couldn't cram that into 45 minutes. But basically, this is where I'm going to track all the research that I do on my schools. And that is the gist, y'all. What questions do you have? Let's see. I'm going to hop into the Q&A. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-dum. So let's see. If we get Coursava to work later, how is what you're describing a different process? It's the same thing, actually. Coursava is basically just useful for figuring out what are the things that you're interested in. Audrey, I don't have suggestions for that. I'm sorry. Do I usually have students do this on their own with their family present? Either one works. I mean, I'll sometimes do it as a session like this. Sometimes we'll do it with I actually like it when students do it without their family present because then they can be super honest. Someone's asking for the link to the Google Sheet. For sure, I'll reshare. Put it back in. Let me put that, and we'll follow up with all the links for this, y'all, so don't worry. Okay. What core criteria did I use to choose Northwestern? Personal question. I like it. Theater, creative. Basically, I wanted to go for theater. I want to go for English. So those are the things that I went for. And it was like a very well known for theater, especially. And so that was the main thing when I was 17. But if I were going now, I would say it's a really good school for students who want to go into all kinds of things. If you're interested in music, if you're interested in creating original work, if you're interested in, philosophy and English, there's so much that it has to offer. Ooh, great question, Trisha. How do we navigate college websites? It just seems so difficult. That's one of the things I'm going to cover in the YouTube video that comes out in a couple of weeks. So this week, in fact, I'm recording that video and I'll release it really soon. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. How many colleges should we ultimately have on our safeties, targets, and reaches? Great question, Mia. So, for years, we've sort of said 8 to 10 schools. And I think that's a pretty good range still, where you've got like 3 safeties. I don't like to call them safeties because who wants to go to a safety school? 3 matches and 3 reaches, right? Some students are applying to more schools now, but the most important thing is to figure out what are those schools that you have a pretty good chance, I like to call them likelies, that you have a pretty good chance of getting into. Those are going to be sort of like your core schools. Are there more upcoming sessions? So Sanjana, if you haven't yet signed up, you've got a chance. If we could just throw in the link once more, Jen, for the actual college fair that starts in 16 minutes, then y'all can sign up for sessions. And here's what I would say, and then I'll let Kathy take us out here. But I would say investigating those schools that you haven't heard of is going to be a great way to open your awareness and open your mind. So the other thing that you can do on College Express is you can search for particular schools and it'll give you a list of all of the lists that school appears on. So you can type in a school like whatever it is, Muhlenberg College, and it'll give you a list of like all the schools the list that it appears on, and then you can find out what that school is good for. So something else you can check out. All right. that's my time. I hope to connect with y'all more again soon. If you want to connect and hear more of my sessions, you can either go to the YouTube channel or you can go to my website, collegeessayguy.com, and you can subscribe to the newsletter. We've got all the things. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ethan. Again, what a great session. So much great information. I know a lot of questions about where you can find the recording, all of that. I'll share here shortly. But again, thank you, Ethan, for being here, for joining us. And thank you to each of you for being here. As we close, there will be a very quick 4-question survey that will appear on your browser. If you don't mind taking a moment to fill that out for us, your feedback is greatly appreciated. Again, there's a virtual college fair happening here shortly, so feel free to sign up there and join us. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/college-essay-guy. Again, that is strivescan.com/college-essay-guy. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. We have reached the conclusion of this session. Ethan will get a copy of all the questions that's being asked tonight, so he will follow up as needed, but follow him on YouTube. Again, as you all know, he is great. And so this is a great opportunity to get to know him a little bit more and the work that he shares to so many. So again, see you all in a bit and have a great evening.
Bye, friends. Thanks for being here.